with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around for
You could be with anyone, and I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to the show. It's another Thursday night SpeakPipe show where we are getting into your messages. As it turns out, we had a few messages that came in. We'll be listening to them very shortly. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Before we get started, I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to kind of get ready for the show. What's going on, Jody Perry Scala? I see you. Raiders Ma in the house. What's happening? I'm going to give folks a little time to get settled, come in, get settled, play a little music, and then we'll get started.
Scream. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Scrolling through the tube, all the thumbnails flash. Cats doing flips, pranks gone bad, they crash. But now you landed here where the beats don't miss. Yeah, algorithm point, but you hit my abyss. Oh. Could've clicked the cooking show. Could've learned to tie a boat. But you chose this flow. So let's go, yeah. You could be watching any YouTube channel, but you're here with me, grab the remote, dismantle. Lost in the pixels, but the vibe too ample. You could've clicked away, now you're stuck in my scandal. ASMR whispers, mukbang feast, unbox therapy or conspiracy priest. But now you're in the trap, this rap's your feast. Chewing on the words, every line unleashed. A million views, a billion streams, but don't hit the vein of these digital dreams. You could surf the net, but you stayed in my scheme. Caught up in my rhythm, my beat supreme. Could be watching any YouTube channel, but you're here with me, grab the remote, dismantle. Lost in the pixels, but the vibe too ample. You could've clicked away, now you're stuck in my scandal.
All right. We're going to get started. Today is going to be a non-video day, so I have my avatar up just so you guys know. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome Thursday, getting ready to head into the weekend. Weather's starting to get nice up here. We might have to throw something on the bobby. I don't know. Throw something on the grill. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we have some, like I said, we have some SpeakPipes came in. I want to run through the SpeakPipes. There was something that was kind of hit me the other day before we get to the SpeakPipes. Or actually, I guess we can do the SpeakPipes first, and then I can go on my little diatribe about some of the foolishness that I've come across most recently. Okay, Jody Periscola said it's 75. All right, she's living a life. Yeah, so let's get into the SpeakPipes and then we'll kick this bad boy off. First up, we have Linda. And you know what? Actually, we're going to do Janet first. We'll do Janet first. And then we'll go to Linda Carmel Cuties. All right. So first up, we have Janet.
Hey James, this is Janet. Just doing some more rewatching of Sister Wives and just looking for, I don't know, things in more detail sometimes when you're rewatching that seem ironic or kind of interesting later on reflection. So I'm watching season 15, episode 6, where Cody and Robin sit their children down in their big mansion and they're like, oh, we just wanted to tell you about it's Joe Jarger called us, and it's really cool because it's been like polygamy's been decriminalized. It's like a traffic ticket and da 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 da. And then Cody has the fucking gall to start going on about how, like, if he had it his way, that if it was decriminalized, then he would have like every polygamist wife. The next step would be every polygamist wife would have a marriage certificate. And then him and Robin are both like crowing about like, yeah, then they'd get alimony. Like they're just like they deserve to get it. And she's like laughing to herself and she's like, yeah, and a lot of child support. That's a lot of child support. and they're so fucking like just huffing their own farts and like so like up on themselves, and it's like you didn't you didn't like ever want your wives to get alimony if that was going to happen though, because it did happen, and then you didn't pay them any alimony. So if that's really what you wanted, it's interesting that you would have like the balls to say that on camera, and just it's opposite of what you want.
We're gonna jump right into the second speak pipe so that she can get her full. Hey, hold on, what the hell? Janet can get her full run.
Hi James, this is Janet, part two. So I'm not done rewatching this episode, but just basically when they're sitting down and they're like, yeah, like that's so much better for everybody and the wives, and it's so good that it's being decriminalized, and it's so good that, like if I had my way, every wife would have a marriage license, and then that way they would get alimony if the marriage dissolved. And yeah, Robin's like, yeah, that's like a lot of child support too. It's like, oof, like that's just that's just crazy to make those two statements. Like, I guess you must have not thought that the wives were ever going to leave you to be saying that on camera, because, like, I know he said it earlier when they were having the panel and that he would support wives if they ever left. But this was like another thing where it's like him and Robin are like, yeah, and it'd be so good because there's a lot of child support they'd have to pay and like a lot of alimony. And it's like, cool, where's the alimony then? Where's the child support? It's, it's almost like, it's so diabolical that I'm just like, wow. Do you wish you hadn't said that? Because it would be really good if they could get some alimony out of you, but they couldn't even get like a place to live. It all went into your art collection and your mansion. And anyway, it's weird to see. I miss you, my take on reality, fam.
Oh, thank you very much, Janet. Here's my thing. I think that for the most part, when we start talking about um, like Cody and Robin and even the Brown family as a whole, the idea of sister wives, one of the struggles that I have most recently is as we talk about it and we kind of fawned over the idea of this equal treatment and giving these folks the platform to be able to sit up and make these kinds of statements like Janet illustrated that, oh, if they legalize polygamy, then every wife should have a marriage certificate and all the alimony and child support and the equal rights will be, oh, they'll explode and everybody be taken care of. And all of that is utter bull caca, as they say. Because when rubber meets the road, everything that they did, everything that they said was all into furtherance the normalization of polygamy within our society, to make it acceptable, to make it something that's an alternative, that it's, hey, it's not something that's bothering you, it's something that I'm involved in and I believe in it, and you should let me follow my dreams. Why are you standing in the way of me doing the thing that I want to do? And that's what we've spent a lot of time debating on, even this channel, other channels across the board. And all of it is in its own right deceptive and is part of the damn problem. Because as we sit here and try to normalize it and make it seem like, oh, if we fix just this one thing, then that'll solve all the problems of polygamy, we're ignoring all the people who are suffering currently under that institution. We're ignoring all the people, like when we sit here and watch the one show that I was watching last week on Netflix, and I did a thing, and you could talk about like the cult of Warren Jeffs and the FLDS and all these other groups, the AUB, and how they're mistreating people, and we get into all the evils that are done in the name of polygamy and religion in those different sects or parts of polygamy. When we did the Brown family exposés and we introduced them on Good Morning America and Oprah Winfrey show and tried to present them as the normal family, we were ignoring the ulcerous sore that lied just beneath the surface of what they were trying to defend, what they were trying to normalize to us. And we could all sit here and pretend like, oh, everybody was just fooled because they was in a cult. The reality of it is every last one of them understood what they were protecting and what they were hiding. Every last one of them understood that there were people in their organizations who were doing horrific things to young folks, families, children, women across the board, even young men across the board. They understood that. And how do I know that they understood that before somebody comes back and, oh, they were brainwashed? They understood that because they knew enough to lie about it. If they were so damn brainwashed, they thought this shit was okay, they would have been on saying that, hey, yeah, sure. I mean, this is what happened and it's fine. It's fine that a 50-year-old man takes a 14-year-old bride and tries to make her pregnant. Or a guy like like I said, the gentleman from Netflix marries a 9-year-old and then she turns up pregnant at 10 or 11. That's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with that because this is how it is. That's what brainwashing is. That's what brainwashing looks like. You talk to somebody from Generation X or prior, Generation X, boomers, you talk to the Zoomers, you talk to anybody who may have experienced corporal punishment when they were kids. I could say that we were all brainwashed. Why? Because when we sit around and talk about what we wouldn't do and what we couldn't get away with and what our parents would do to us if we got caught doing half the stuff that these people were talking about, we're not shy about it. We don't hide it. We don't lie about it. We don't cover it up. We don't pretend like it was wrong. We sit around and we almost say it with glistening pride when we talk about, oh, my parents would have, oh, there would have been a vacancy at the dinner table if I came home like that and I'd have said that about my mouth. Oh, yeah, my parents would have been out back burying me in a shallow grave if I was to talk back to them the way these kids talk to their parents. That sounds to me more like somebody who is tricked, fooled, brainwashed, or convinced that actions which may be deemed immoral or unsuitable are now all of a sudden okay. Right? They're okay to them. That's what it's like when you're dealing with somebody who's brainwashed. But somebody who knows enough to lie about it, somebody who knows enough to deceive people about it and go on TV and pretend like that's not the case and that never happened. We never, all my life, I never knew men could be so evil. How did you not know men could be so evil? When men in your community were that evil. Men in your family were that evil. So when we talk about these things, I think this is one of the struggles that the moving forward, I think that the folks, the cast members, and this isn't just Robin and Cody. This isn't just a Robin Cody thing. Because Robin and Cody weren't the only ones who were involved with it. This is a thing that I think spans even beyond like just the whole Robin Cody experience. I think this is something that all of them really need to address. That's just kind of where I'm at. Like, this isn't something that we can look at and say, oh, well, everybody was fooled because Janelle and Cody are the only two people who were not members or didn't grow up in this stuff. Mary, Christine, Robin all grew up in this. Robin was brought in when she was young. She wasn't born into it, but Mary and Christine were born into this craziness. And they understood. Like, I'm not prepared to sit around, and part of that too is I'm not prepared to sit around and say that these women were so ignorant or dumb or just not paying attention that they had no idea what was going on around them. Because even Christine, she was a member of the Principal Voices, where they were trying to do ad campaigns. That's how they got the show. So, and when we talk about like Cody and Robin's hypocrisy, that's built into the cake. None of them, if they legalize, and I did this video a while ago, we're talking about the legalization of polygamy. And the reality of it is that polygamy is not legal and will never be legalized because the leadership of polygamy will never expose themselves to being vulnerable to people who are in this sect. They'll never expose themselves to be vulnerable to people who could come in and take everything that they own and house them. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. I'm not a big, I don't know. Yeah, I just, I can't. It's like I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to be, like I started doing Sister Wives in 90 Day and all that other stuff, and I try to be fair, but in an effort to be fair, I think that there's too much grace given sometimes. Like you try to be fair, so you just try to turn a blind eye to things because you don't want to come off too hard. You don't want to come down on too crazy. You don't want to be too judgmental. But at the same time, I mean, common sense at some point got to kick in. Common sense has to kick in. Because even as Janet pointed out, I mean, rightly so, these guys, they'll sit around and talk all that bullshit. Oh, I'm pardon my French if y'all get offended by my little dalliance with the French, but they'll sit around and talk about all this craziness about, oh yeah, we're gonna have like equal rights and give all the women alimony. Robin, for one, the legal wife, is never going to stand by and let any of that money go towards any of these other women. You know how I know she wasn't? Because even as a supposed fellow victim of polygamy, she wasn't going to let it happen, is because Robin had every right. The same way she's out there spending tens of thousands of dollars on dolls and clothes and everything else, paintings and all this other shit, she could have cut a check to them women if she wanted to. If she really thought that Janelle, Mary, or Christine were being treated unfairly, she could have cut them a check. She could have cut them all a check. They say, you know what? Cody's not treating you guys right as the legal wife. I'm going to make the executive order that I have access to the accounts. Here, let me stroke you out a check. Here's your severance package or whatever you want to call it, departing fees or whatever. Here's one for you. Here's one for you. Here's help you can take care of your kids because they my kids too. I hope I see you on Sunday, or maybe we can get caught up on like whatever. If you were that pressed about it, but you're not. And it's like most things. Yeah, it's easy to sit around and talk about what you would do and what you could do when there's no court order in place and when there's no agreement and you aren't in threat of losing anything. It's easy to sit around and talk about all the shit you coulda, woulda, shoulda did. Oh yeah, if that happened, boy, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and make sure everybody taking care of you. Because that's what I'm about. You. They want to leave. Oh, they can go away with nothing. They turn their pockets out. How dare they leave me? I didn't approve them leaving me. So now they got to get your approval in order to divorce you. Yeah, but that's not about power and control. And like I said, like somebody wrote, Wendy said, notes to self, said Cody was one of the good guys in their faith. So how the F could Christine not know? I take it a step further. Cody's one of the good guys in their faith, and they're sitting there propagating the idea that they're just like everybody else. If I'm a good guy and I know that children and women and children and kids and even adults are being abused and mistreated by an organization, if I sign up to sponsor that organization and get on YouTube and try to sell their products or try to get people to join the organization, or more to the point, maybe not even join the organization, accept the organization and say that this is I give my my endorsement that this is a reputable organization, aren't I just as bad as the people doing the thing wrong? Aren't I just as bad as they are? They're doing, yeah, I might not be there marrying, 12-year-olds or running around whipping on the women and all that other stuff. But if I'm sitting there saying, no, you guys got to understand how awesome these people are. They're just misunderstood. All the evils that they're actually doing, yeah, they're not doing none of that. Aren't I just as bad as they are? Aren't I just as culpable as they are? And if that's the case, how the hell can I look at Cody and say Cody's a good man? Oh, he was one of the good guys. No, he wasn't. He might not be as bad as some of the other guys. He might not be as evil as some of the other guys, but he's damn sure not a good guy. Like, I beg to differ on that point. I beg to differ. I don't think you can consider yourself a good guy because you stand around, watch it, you stand around, support it, and because you're not doing it or participating in the actual suffering, that somehow you are a good person. If you're endorsing it and you're supporting it, you're as shitty as the people who are doing it. You guys all can slide in the grease and cook. All y'all need to get fried. There's no way in the world I'm going to look past you and be like, oh, no, guys, you got to understand. He, in his heart of hearts, he was a good man. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No. And I don't know if y'all know this. Look, going into season 21, I'm looking at this shit. I'm not giving no breaks. There's no more breaks given on my take on reality. I'm through with that shit. There's no more breaks given. If people messing up, I don't give a shit whether it's the OG3, Cody, Robin, whoever. You know what I mean? Everybody catching it. So if you stepping outside the line, because I mean that's what it comes down to. Because we like the OG3, we gave them a pass. We pretend, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, no, they good people because they suffered, they went through a lot. Okay, yeah, they did go through a lot. But they also covered for people who were going through a lot. They covered for people who were putting people through things that were terrible. So, I mean, at this point, come correct. Come correct. I think they just got to come correct. This is Wendy said they've done nothing with their platform to help those stuck in compounds and want to leave, but have no resources, let alone millions from TLC. And I think that's 100% accurate. Like, because at some point you have to take responsibility for the damage that you've done and the damage that you've caused. And if you think that by spending the last 15 years supporting this organization, supporting this lifestyle, and just because you were in a lifestyle and you got a bad hand in a lifestyle that you participated in, but yet you endorsed and you profited from, that somehow you're not culpable in the suffering of other people, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. And if you guys are using your platforms to enrich yourselves and improve your own lifestyles and standing, but you're not doing anything to help the people who are still, like Wendy said, are still trapped in these wicked situations and these wicked marriages and these wicked mindsets because they've been brainwashed or been convinced that this is the right way, but you guys aren't doing anything to stop that. And I mean, like, yeah, look, there's an old saying. One of the things that used to annoy me, like back in the day, they don't do it as much anymore. But one of the things that used to annoy me back in the day is you would have a politician or a famous person or somebody, and they would get caught doing some old scandalous stuff, right? Messing around on their wives, or they cheating on their family, stealing money or whatever. And messing around with ladies of the night, women who get paid to play, blah, blah, blah. And invariably there would be a press conference. And at that press conference, there would be the guy who did it. Usually it's a man. He would cheating on his wife. He'll come out and he have his wife in tow and his kids standing there, and everybody's sitting there looking sad and sorry. And he's standing there talking about how sorry he is and how he messed up and how his wife got his back and she gonna support him, and he messed up and betrayed his family and blah blah blah, etc., etc., etc. And one of the damn things that always annoyed the shit out of me is, one, why is that woman and them kids standing out there with your ass when you messed up? They wasn't with you when you was messing up. But now you got caught. Now all of a sudden they got to go out there and stand with you and take the heat and be embarrassed and humiliated with your ass. It's your mistake. You stand there on the carpet and take that heat yourself, by yourself, because you made those decisions by yourself. And these are your choices. So you should have to stand there and take it. The second thing that always kind of annoyed me was when people do things publicly and then want to apologize privately. Let me say that one more again. They do something publicly, an offense publicly, but then they want to go back and apologize privately. These guys will stand there and they never really nail down when they get at these press conferences. They always say, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. They never say what they're sorry for. They say they sorry they embarrassed their wife and their kids. They sorry they betrayed their family, let down their supporters. And they ask for everybody to give them secrecy or privacy while they work things out between their families during this very delicate time or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Right? But if you want to humiliate your wife publicly, you should apologize to her publicly. You should explain what you did, why you humiliate her, why you sorry, etc., 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 to get over it. Like, same. If you've been on TV for the last 15 years propagating polygamy, talking about how awesome it is, talking about how different you are from all the other cults and groups and sects and people who are doing it, and how you guys are different and independent and everybody's strong-willed and these are strong women and everybody got their minds and shit together, only to find out that you guys are just like everybody else, if not worse, then you don't get to slide off and do like little events that nobody sees you at, that nobody's aware that you at. Give your secret support to women in these circumstances. You should be out in front, just like you were when you were holding these organizations or groups up. You should be out in front telling people that these organizations and these groups are not what you pretended that they were. That's where I'm at. I'm just saying, like, I think that's a big thing. But we're gonna move on to the next person. Next up, we have we thank you, Janet, for that contribution. Next up, guys, we got Linda. Linda in the house.
Hey, James, it's Linda. Not sure if you're doing SpeakPipe today or tomorrow. So I did plunge in and look at the McKelty interview with Cults to Consciousness. Someone had posted it. In a way, I'm sorry I did, because it just seems like there is absolutely no accountability for anything in the Brown family, anything in any of these polygamists, any of these cults. They have an excuse for everything and an explanation for part of it, but not all of it. Because the part I posted was the McKelty talking about, how he fell in love with Robin, blah, blah, blah. But she goes on to say how much she hates Mary. She doesn't like Mary, but doesn't say why. And I just have the feeling that Mary was probably like us, a disciplinarian, wasn't going to take any mess. And everybody else coddled them. I almost choked when she said, Janelle was very loving, and if we had to go to her with a complaint, she didn't want to hear this whole story. She wanted to hear who she had to hurt. Just like Cody. They're going to be condescending and have your side just to keep you calm and behaving well for the show. I'm glad we've moved on to other things, but we still need to finish up these fools because they need to be off the air.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because McKelty has been like, no shade on McKelty, but between her and Tony, they've been doing a lot of heavy lifting, trying to put themselves out there so that they can kind of fall into the forefront and fall into the spotlight of Sister Wives. I guess it's almost like Sister Wives Generation 2. They're moving on up. They're trying to get, recapture some of that excitement, and they're trying to see if they have the power to do so. And even to that extent, like I said, I've always have had a problem with between McKelty and even like Maddie, like with the short thing she had and she took it down. But Christine coming out and they take shots at Mary and how difficult she was and how she was nasty to the kids, etc., etc., etc. But they never give details as to what it is. And the details that they provide, to be honest with you, I don't really see. And this is just my perspective. I just don't see that as being crazy. Like going, your kid going to a store, because I know folks didn't necessarily care for my dalliance into like reaction videos. But when Christine described the scenario where McKelty was going to a store and she didn't have the money and she asked the store clerk for 10 cents and Mary found out about it, went crazy. I don't want you doing that. Isn't that the same shit we were talking about when we were talking about people going to restaurants and ordering food and not necessarily having money to pay for the stuff? Isn't that the same thing we talk about when we talk about men flying women out and they don't have a way to get home? So you rely on a man to fly you out to some exotic location or a different state or whatever, different place where you're not from. You relying on him to pay for your hotel. You relying on him to pay for your airfare. You have no way home. And then when he starts making demands of you and that you don't want to necessarily fulfill, then all of a sudden it's, oh, well, they was dumb for not having money together. You know where that mindset comes from? It comes from that 10 cent. You teach your kids to never go into a store. If you don't have money, you can't afford to do something, then you don't put yourself in a position or in the way of doing something. If you can't buy, you go into a store, you want to get 2 packs of Now and Laters or Alexander the Grape or Lemon Heads, one of these old school candies. I don't know nothing about these. You know what I mean? These classics. What is that? That that bar that was like, oh my God, it was so good. It was like it had coconut on the outside, like toasted coconut on the outside. Oh, I can't even think about it. It was so delicious. But if you don't have the money to be able to cover everything you want to do, you know what you do? You take that thing, like some of it, and you put it back. If you don't have enough money to cover everything that you want to buy, you take the money. Chico sticks. Thank you. Let them know what I'm talking about. Chico sticks. Damn it. Ooh, them shits was good. I want a Chico stick right now. But I just thought about it. But you don't have enough money. You know what you do? You put some of it back. That's what you do. Or you don't pick it up. Like you recognize, like learn to do math. That's back in the day, I know we ain't had no phones and shit, but we know how to count. If I go into a store and I see that like the candy is 15 cents a piece and I have $1, right? And I say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get 4 of this and 4 of that. Can I get another 5 of them? No, you got to sit there and do math. Put it together. You put it together. Because that's just crazy to me. Like, if you go into a store and the soda's $1.50 and you have $1.25, guess what? I got water at home. I'm not going to sit here and stand in the store and hope that somebody give me some money. It's that hope for shit. When you go out on dinners, you go to dinner dates, you go out and get something to eat, you go out with your friends. Hell, I teach my kids. If you go out with your friends and you go somewhere, have money to, at minimum, have money to be able to make a damn phone call. But you always want to have money to be able to pay for wherever you go. I don't care if somebody say they're going to treat you or not. And you always have a way to get your ass home. I don't care if they say they're going to treat you or not. Somebody going to fly you out, that's awesome. But you know what? I got money in the bank that if shit go left, if we get to wherever we going on this wonderful night out, then I'm riding in my friend's car and they're going to pay for me at this restaurant. If we get to wherever we going and we fall out, I'm not out of business. I'm not done. I can pay for my meal. I can get up. I can get in, if I can't get a car, I can get an Uber. I can get a ride. I can call somebody and I can get out of there and get myself home safely. But these are lessons. This isn't just something that, like, we talk all the time about, like, stuff that you instill in your kids. The truth of the matter is, these big lessons aren't just taught right off the top. Like, you don't wait till your kid is 15 and say, yeah, by the way, don't never go somewhere you don't have the money. But the whole time when they were little, every time they go to the store, you give them $1, they come home with $3 worth of shit, and you don't ask them about it. Especially, and this is gonna sound jacked up. It's gonna be jacked up. Some people gonna be mad, but especially when you're dealing with young ladies. James, why are you saying that? That's misogynist. The boys and the girls are the same. The problem that I have, regardless of how I feel about whether boys and girls are equal, the reality of it is the world doesn't treat them equally. I could sit here all day and say that men and women are equal and they should be treated the same and we should regard them the same way. But the truth of the matter is that my son going somewhere with a young lady and she buys him pays for his dinner. She may have expectations that he gonna, slang that thing by the end of dinner because that's what she paid for. But the reality of it is that my daughter has different concerns, because if a man takes her out to buy that, pays that dinner, and he expects at the end of the night she gonna slang that thing, and they in the car and she say, take me home, that man may look at her and say, I can physically dominate you. And if you don't want to give it to me, I can take it. There's very few women out there who can take it from a man. Well, not very few. That's not true, because some women do be housing these fellas. Like, some of these women be tearing these dudes' asses up. But it's just not the way things work. And that's one of the things that I've always said. Like, there's certain experiences that women have, concerns that women have, that men just don't have. I've never sat in a frat house or walked into a bar with a bunch of dudes and said to myself, oh shit, they've been drinking a lot. I could become sexually compromised because these fellas are looking at me kind of funny. Never, not once in my life have I ever thought that. But I guarantee you, every woman that I've ever been friends with, every woman I've ever known, knows that pit feeling in their stomach when they realize that they might be in a situation where the guys around them there's too many guys, or they by themselves and they don't really know these fellas. It's a different concern. I have been in situations where I look around and be like, you know what? I might have to swing my way up out of here. The way these guys are looking, or they, the drinking and the loose talking they doing, I might have to, knock some people down to get up out of here. But I've never been concerned that, I might be down at the hospital getting a rape kit. That's just the reality of it. Right. And so I think you're doing a disservice to your especially to your young ladies, if you aren't teaching them how to navigate the world as the world exists. Not how we hope it would exist or we wish it would be, but how it actually exists and how it actually works. And teaching young women that they could be indebted to men, especially in a culture where men are marrying, like 50-year-old men are marrying 10-year-olds, and you send your daughter down to the corner store and get indebted to a man. Yeah, if you take it like in my situation, even to Linda's point, in my situation, normal ass household, normal family, I feel a certain way about sending my daughter out and teaching her to be indebted to a man. And I don't know anybody who is actively going out trying to marry teenagers. I don't know no 50-year-old men trying to actively marry somebody who's 15, 16 years old. I bet you bottom dollar Mary do. I bet you Christine do. I bet you Janelle, Robin, and Cody do. So when Mary is trying to teach that lesson and everybody acts like she's being unreasonable, how unreasonable is she being? That's my question. How unreasonable is Mary being? I don't want you to go out and feel like you're indebted to a man who's doing you a favor and giving you money, because some of these men, when they give you money, even if it's a little bit of money, they expect something in return. Especially if she's looking around that community that she's from. I'm just saying, like, it's just like that story. It still kind of bothers me that like they told that story and everybody was like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Mary would go crazy over that shit. She is around. Mary has been around her entire life. When she was doing this polygamy thing in the AUB, she's been around lecherous ass dudes who take advantage of young women. So is it Mary's fault? If maybe that's what Mary was thinking about. But nobody ever gives Mary credit for that shit. Mary was looking out for her in a way that her mama wasn't. It's not a problem. Y'all ain't gonna have it. Nobody gonna do nothing. My daughter. Shit. Like I said, tune in the notes to Self 444. You know what I mean? Mel's got some damn stories. And Mel is the daughter of the prophet. And she has stories about things that have happened to her within that organization. And you telling me Christine, who might be blue blood, but her dad wasn't the prophet. Her husband damn sure wasn't the prophet. They didn't have no traction in that organization for real. Maybe when they go to church, they get to sit in the front, but they didn't have any real traction. She couldn't stop shit. So yeah, maybe Mary was trying to look out for McKelty and trying to keep her ass from being a victim. And McKelty thinking that, oh, it's okay because it never happened, because you weren't ever a victim, that somehow Mary was full of shit and she didn't know what she was talking about. And she was she was so worried about something that wasn't really going to happen. That wasn't for real. You didn't understand how much danger you were in. You didn't understand how much danger you were in. You know what? There's I don't know if you guys know who, I'll say it this way. There's a guy, Tupac, and he's friends with a guy named Snoop Dogg. And there's another rapper named Nas, right? Tupac, well, I'll just say the one guy, call him Two. Two was having a problem he's from the West Coast. He was having problems with some guys on the East Coast. He came out to the East Coast. He was in New York, and he ran into a big dude in New York, very famous guy. And he went up, wanted to show out a little bit, and he started talking shit to the big guy in New York, right? And the big guy from New York was like, look, man, I don't want no problem. I love your stuff. I love your music. I wish you the best. I'm going to let you, I ain't got no problem with you. And he walked off. And Two was sitting there bragging about how he punked this dude up and, oh, he ain't know nothing about it because he was scared of him and he was going to do this, that, and the other. And his friend, we call him Snoopy, his friend Snoopy was like, no, because I lived this life, because he too was in like street gangs and stuff when he was younger. He's like, I lived this life, and I looked around the room, and I'm telling you, this whole room was loaded up with the big guy from New York's people. And so when the big guy from New York was like, I don't want a problem with you. I love your stuff. I think you cool. We ain't got no issues. What the guy two didn't understand, because he got away with all that shit, talking all that shit, what he didn't understand is that you didn't get away with anything. The big dude let you slide. He let you go. And just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean that fire ain't hot. Doesn't mean that grease ain't hot. Just because you ain't put your hand in it don't mean that grease wasn't hot, wasn't going to burn your ass. And that's the thing too. Like there's a point where some of them may look at Mary, and if this is the kind of stuff that she was arguing with them about, pressing them about, what they didn't realize is that Mary was the one who was standing in the breach. Mary could have potentially been the person, and just from this respect, I never really wanted to talk to Mary before, but I want to talk to her about this. Mary very well could have been the person who was standing in the way of a lot of this shit happening to them. She was standing in the way of these young kids going through some very traumatic things. Because she was the one who was sitting there taking the heat. No, don't wear that kind of dress. Don't wear this kind of shirt. No, you can't walk out of here looking like that. Oh, I was wearing that shirt. I wore that shirt a bunch of times. They saw me wear that shirt. And then the one time I want to wear it on the show, all of a sudden it's a problem. Yeah, because it's on the show. Because it's on national television. And because you could be exposing yourself to the kind of people, the people in these groups, the people who are our neighbors, the people who you may not be aware of are aware of this show and they watch this show. And if they see that you are starting to blossom as a young lady, even though you are still a teenager and still a child, some of these adults will look at you like you a grown-ass woman and that you ready for playtime. You ready for play now. And they will approach you as such. And because it never happened and because you were never exposed to it, you didn't realize your ass was in danger. You didn't realize how much danger you were in. Years ago, there was a movie called, I forget what it was called. It was an alligator movie. And the damn thing was up in Maine eating the hell out of everybody. It was humongous. Like my girl Betty was in it. Not Betty Aldridge from the show. But she was in it. She was feeding these damn things whole cows. Like she's like, and these alligators reach like 25, 30 feet. These things was monsters. Yeah, she was raising sea monsters out there. And the guy was out swimming in the ocean. He fell into the river. And Lake Placid. Thank you. Linda, you on it tonight, girl. The guy was in Lake Placid, and he was, fabled with the like Egyptian mythology and mythos. And he was like, oh, the god of death, who's a crocodile. He said, oh, he not Anubis, it's the other one. But he said, oh, the crocodile would look you in the face and they would judge you. And he fell into the water. The crocodile swam right up to his ass and didn't eat him and swam off. And he said, I was judged. He said, no, what happened was 5 minutes ago, that crocodile ate a full ass cow. He ate a whole ass cow. He was full. That's why he didn't eat you. He was full. Dummy, you don't realize how much danger you was in. Because had that woman, Betty, not given my man that damn cow, you would have been an appetizer. Betty White is the woman's name. Betty White was out there feeding these damn things whole ass cows and shit. She walking them down the little docks or whatever, feeding these damn things. It was crazy. But that's what I'm saying. Like these kids might not have known how much trouble they was in. especially because you're on TV. Like I had my talk with my lady the other day. She said, we were talking about like Robin and Robin's prospects after the show. What a lot of folks don't realize is it the same way Cody could pick up some women because he's on the show. Cody's on the show, and there are women who would date Cody because he's on the show. There are men who will date Robin because Robin is on the show. And Robin is well known. There are men who will go after Robin because she's well known. Just like it's been, some people have made assertions that David started going after Christine because she was on the show. And that made her more attractive to him. And like same. If you're a grown-ass man who likes young teenage girls and you see the Brown family girls growing up and then all of a sudden they walking around with tank tops and shit on and they boobies hanging out and the girls are swinging, then all of a sudden these young ladies become available to these guys and they become greenlit for some of these dudes. And the guys will look at it and say, well, if you put your daughter out like that, then clearly you basically hanging a sign on her. Open for business. And Mary very well may have come down on McKelty saying that you're still a child, that you should be dressed like this, not because I'm trying to hinder you or keep you from fun, but because I'm trying to protect you from these freaks in our organization that we try to hide back. We're hiding you from these people. And you've never come in contact with them. Because that was also one of the things that they complained about with Mary, that she was coming down on us about the clothes and the clothes we were wearing and it wasn't appropriate. And I was just living my best life. Yeah, shit works until it don't work no more. No, what did he say? Yep, David admitted to being a fan. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like some of these guys, man, like I know women catch a lot of heat for that. Like, oh, she's just into him because he's on a TV show or whatever. Guys do it too. You know? That's what I'm saying though. I just want to be like, and if they're gonna come at Mary, like I just want them to come out and say like something that's a little more like she did this and I could ride with you. That's all. Like I want you to come out and say like, yeah, Mary did this. I'd be like, yeah, that was terrible. She did that. You know. And then also, I said this the other day. I'm not one to sit here and judge every little thing that a parent does. Because I don't think that shit is appropriate. You know, like when they say that when McKelty was on Pop Psych show, and she described like, I was at the table and we were messing around and Mary sent me off and told me to get up and leave the table because I kept messing around and blah, blah, blah. And that's not effective parenting. Everybody shook their head and, big chagrin. The thing that I'll say is this. Parents are people. Parents are people. Parents are people. And when you have kids, there isn't a damn instruction manual available. Okay? To tell you all the right moves. Parents don't make all the right moves all the time. It just is what it is. They make mistakes. They may do some things which may be good. They may do things that are great. They may do things that are harmful at some point. But parents aren't perfect. And maybe Mary could have handled that situation better. I don't know. Like, I might have told all they asses to stop and get up. I don't know, depending on the situation. But maybe at some point we could describe a way that Mary could have handled it better. But at the same time, maybe Mary was doing the best she could, especially when you got a house full of damn kids and you're trying to manage all of them. Right? And you have sister wives or friends who are raising their kids like cats. And you trying to herd a bunch of cats and get them to do what you want them to do. right? Or more to the point, what you need them to do in order for you to maintain control and safety in your house. Because like it or not, when you have a bunch of kids in your house and nobody listening, that shit is a safety hazard. I mean, to quote my homegirl, Negla 3, am I wrong? That shit is a safety hazard. If everybody's in the house just doing whatever they want to do, and I have people in there under 10 and everybody just kind of run around doing their own thing, and I have no control, that's a safety hazard. So yeah, I might have to come down and drop the hammer on some folks to make some examples so that way I can try to maintain some semblance of control in my house and household. And that even goes beyond just the fact that if I have nice stuff in my house, I want to keep the nice shit in my house without it getting broke. But yeah. But thank you so much, Linda. We had some super chats come through. We had unlimited lipstick with the $2.79 super chat. You're right. Women are more at risk, not misogynistic. Yeah, I mean, I don't, because I recognize some people get kind of sensitive when I say shit like that, but it's just it's the truth. It's the truth. Like, there are places that I go as a 6'6". I've lost a lot of weight now because I got sick, but I'm back. I'm gonna go back into the gym next week. I'll be back in the gym next week, so hopefully I'll pack back up. But 6'6", been training, doing martial arts since I was a kid, right? Boxing the whole nine. There are places that I go that I would be at risk, that I'm not safe when I get there. And I would be a damn fool if I assume that I should be allowed to do whatever I want to do. There's shit. In this world, I should be free to walk down any street in America, the United States of America. I should be 100% free to walk down those streets with 4 pounds of gold hanging around my neck, counting hundos, as I'm keying into my Lamborghini. I should be completely safe. But there's way more places that I'm going to get robbed. If I even try to do that shit, would have to. If I got a decent enough chain, I could have a chain from Temu, walking down, trying to figure out how to get into my Mac machine or most machine, or ATM, so I can get my last $20 out so that I can hopefully get a Uber or be able to catch a bus and get a transfer pass on the bus. And I still might get robbed because I'm not safe. And that's not me saying like, oh, this person, that's ridiculous. Why would you bring that up? We should all be equal and it should all be fair. No, it is what it is. You got to be smart. You got to take care of yourself. You have to deal with the situation as the situation is, not how you wish it would be. I wish I could walk down every street in America and do what I want to do the way I want to do it and be safe and secure in my own person. But I recognize there's some places, there's some neighborhoods, there's some towns I can't go through. There's some towns I got to be out of there before the sun go down. And if I'm going to be honest, and I know some people ain't going to like this, but I've been to a few of those towns and I was told that shit. Like, you better not be here. The sun better not hit your back. And you in this town, Jack. If that sun go down, boy, that's it for you. It's a wrap. Oh, no, that's not like that. Because when I was brought up, my parents told me that everybody was equal. It don't matter how your parents raised you, because it was how their parents raised them. Okay, you might not be in a group of dudes who's coming after my ass. But that don't mean them dudes ain't coming. But thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate you. Like, that shit is real. Like, I ain't no game. And that's just like I would tell dudes, like, oh, ain't no woman got to worry. Guys, I remember I knew some frat boys that used to get insulted. that women wouldn't go over their house. They would leave when they started getting, numbers started getting thin. Well, I don't know why they're going to leave. It ain't like we're going to do something to them. They don't know that. They don't know that. And until they have to be safe and secure in their own persons, they have to understand that, why don't you try to get to know them without a beer in their hand? Let's start there. Try to get to know them without you trying to drown them in alcohol. Maybe walking up to them when they sitting in the lunchroom or the cafeteria or some shit. Instead of you always trying to talk to them when they're at a party and they're about 3 sheets to the wind. Maybe then they'll feel more comfortable coming and staying, sitting in your living room and talking to you after the party's over. You and your 3 buddies. But if the only time you trying to talk to them is when they smashed out and they could barely stand, no, they don't feel comfortable standing here talking to you, dummy. I wouldn't feel comfortable standing there talking to you. Good on them for leaving. But next up we got a unlimited lipstick with the $2.79 super chat. Said I like the reaction videos, makes for great discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have to try to rework them so that way they hit more folks. But thank you. I appreciate that. Let me give you a little something. All right. James, shout out to Mac Machine. That's an East Coast PA, West Virginia, Maryland thing. Yeah. Mac, DC would have most. They had the most machines. ATM. Yeah, man. Showing my age. But we'll go to the next SpeakPipe. We got Caramel Cuties.
Hey, my Take fam, it's me, Carmel Cuties. Sorry for the background noise. I have a late start at work today. I don't start till 1:30 California time. So sorry for the background noise. If it's loud, I'm in the car. I just seen a video on Instagram of Miss Padrone McKelty talking about talking to a narcissist. And it's like a little parody of what a conversation I'm sure is like speaking to Cody and Robin. And it kills me how hypocritical she is with these type of videos because exactly who you're speaking of when you do these things. But yet, when you have the actual chance to come out and say it with your chest directly regarding Cody and Robin, you sugarcoat, you make excuses for, you're basically a freaking hypocrite because you won't just openly admit your father's and your stepmother's fucked up. Maybe she's scared her little bit of coin she does get from the show will get canceled once they cancel the show, or Cody cuts her off for being honest. But at this point, we all know the wool, the sheet or the blanket has already been pulled back. The curtain's been pulled back. Fucking be honest for once. Like, I can't stand a liar. And it drives me nuts how quick they'll lie for Cody. For what? The benefit of $1? Just be honest at this point. Because you're begging for our views, which is
All right, we're going to go right to the part 2.
Carmel Cuties again. I kind of got cut off that last one, but I was just saying you're begging for our views, which is basically begging for money because your pages are monetized. So if the Padrones want to keep getting paid off of us viewing their content, just be honest. Like, if it's going to cancel the show, the show's already over at this point. Their viewership is down. Nobody's really watching it. And at the end of the day, if they need to fully cancel it, cancel the shit at this point. But you go on interviews with Coach the Consciousness, Pop Psych. You go on interviews with Growing Up in Polygamy, and you toe the line very carefully on any negative stuff that you may or may not say about Cody or Robin. And that tells me he still has his hands on you. You still have your hands in his pocket. And then until you're completely 100% cut the fuck off, like you're still gonna do whatever you can to be in his good graces. You can see it all over her face in the last interview when she said, "Oh, she's the favorite child because she was the one that tried to play peacemaker amongst everybody when it came to Cody and Robin." And I don't know. I'm not kissing no family member's ass at the spite of cutting off innocent children just to do the same to make me look good.
Fair play. Fair play. But here's my thing. Like, I think that here's the thing. I think when you like, because Carmel Cutie's pointed out that maybe she don't want to get cut off by Cody. Here's the thing. If I was McKelty's friend, here's the one thing I would say. McKelty, it don't matter. It doesn't matter if you are Cody's favorite brown child. You aren't getting shit anyway. Everything that he owns is going to go to Robin. Everything Robin owns is going to go to her 3 kids or her 5 kids. Yeah, her 5 kids. You're not getting anything out of Robin. Like, if McKelty think by being nice to Cody or doing him a favor or being nice to Robin and somehow you're going to wind up in the well after she passed, you are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You're not even close to the list of people who want to heard from him. And being nice to him is only just compromising yourself and putting you in a bad situation. That's the first part. The second part, like I noticed that if you go to the Facebook page, Athena Minerva, Linda, she posts a lot of stuff. She has a lot of the like clips and things like that. And she had a few that she had talked about from McKelty, and like McKelty talking about Cody's narcissism and how to deal with a narcissist. And she throws shade at him, but she doesn't ever come out and say his name. But we all know that she's talking about between Cody and Robin, right? And again, this goes to the whole point that I was saying before. And this is where it gets kind of grifty. It gets kind of grifty because she took the position in season 17 that she's the peace broker. She's the mediator. She's the one they all come to because she's so understanding, so kind, and she's trying to be everybody's friend. Right? Now, updated to season 20, when that didn't really get any traction as the mediator, now all of a sudden, she's doing shots about Cody and how he ain't this and how he ain't that and how Robin isn't this and Robin isn't that and blah, 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 blah. Right? It comes off grifty because if anybody does any type of review of Sister Wives, right, as a content creator, there's just one simple rule. Cody, Robin, bad. OG3, good. So when she comes out and she now all of a sudden she's attacking Cody and Robin, it just feels super grifty because you're not given the nuance as to why you were on their side, why you defended them for all those years, why you used to, make excuses for them. It just seems like all of a sudden you're anti-Cody, anti-Robin. And it just seems that way because as you're starting to try to expand your reach into the social media landscape, as well as your importance of being maybe added to the cast of Sister Wives as a main character of Sister Wives to get paid, cut one of them checks. Now all of a sudden you coming out against Cody and Robin, following those rules. Whereas before, when you weren't getting paid, they were misunderstood and people didn't understand them and people need to just relax and give them a break and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But now, because you're trying to get paid, all of a sudden, Cody bad. Robin bad. They all evil. They didn't help my mom. They was nasty to my. They been nasty to your mom. You know what I mean? And then some people will point out, like, how many times did you when you had your twins, you called Robin's ass first to tell her about your twins before you called your mom. So how much were you really on your mom's side during all that? You know what I mean? Oh, I'm super close with my mom now. Blah blah blah. So it just, I don't know. Like, and I think it's a hard spot for all of them to be in. Like between McKelty, Peyton, Maddie, a lot of them, because they put a lot into the show. A lot of their identity, I think, is tied into the show, and a lot of their perspective success is tied into the show. Like things that they could do outside the show. Like they're kind of led to believe that if they start something, a lot of the fans were curious about them, asking questions about them. They wanted to hear about how their lives were turning out. So they were kind of led to believe that if they started something, they would get that same love that their parents got, if not more. And, work for a little bit. And then I think the turn, like, and this is going to be crazy to say, but I genuinely think the turning point of the profitability in Sister Wives went with Garrison. Like when Garrison passed away, a lot of the interest that, like the full blown, like we're just gonna go, I'm about to say something crazy, but we're just gonna go all in on Sister Wives and just watch Sister Wives and support them and anything Sister Wives I'm curious about, et cetera, et cetera. I think a lot of that attention left too. You know what I mean? Because McKelty and Tony had released their podcast and they were making a lot of money. Then Gwen, she released her podcast, or not her podcast, but they were doing their Patreons, and they were making a lot of money, right? And then that gave Maddie an opportunity where she had met the young lady, and she was going to start a podcast. Then after Big G's passed, a little bit of time went by. Gwen dropped out of the Patreon game, and she doesn't want to do it anymore. McKelty's tried to stick with it, but I don't think there was as much interest because a lot of the people who were supporting the kids when Big G's passed, all of a sudden they were like, it just felt dirty for them to keep supporting, the show. And they didn't really want to be involved with like the exploitation of the kids. And they may have felt like supporting the kids in their Patreon was still exploitative, and they just didn't have that same energy. And so now it just seems like they're kind of like, it just kind of comes off like McKelty and Tony feel like they're scrambling a little bit because now all of a sudden they're everywhere, just doing interviews and interviews and interviews, talking to people. And it does feel more like a scramble. Yeah, Kathy said it. Cody got Maddie to stop her podcast. I think so. Well, I mean, I would say it this way. I think Cody got Maddie to stop her podcast. Because her most popular, like the thing with Sister Wives, like you get tied into Sister Wives, and I understand this intimately. You get tied in with Sister Wives. The fans of Sister Wives will support you while you're tied into Sister Wives, but they rarely want to hear about anything other than Sister Wives. So the people, who supported like Maddie's show, they really like her views were not that high, but her views when she talked about like her upbringing or her parents or things like that, that's when a lot of the views came in on that show. That's why Cody, I think, made it a point to stop the show or stop Maddie's show, because it wasn't because she was just on TV talking. It was because her most popular, most profitable episodes were the one where she talked about her family. More to the point, she talked about her relationship with her dad, and it made him look bad. So I think that's what made him pull the plug on that show and knock it off. So, but yeah, it's just like, because even what Wendy was saying, like McKelty's proven that she'll say anything. Like McKelty's just kind of like, it just doesn't ring true. You know, it just doesn't ring true. Like, it feels like you're trying to walk on both sides of the fence, but you're not explaining like why you switched directions. Like, you're trying to flow on both sides of the street, but you're not explaining why the direction changed. Why are you not riding for Cody and Robin the way you were riding before? Oh, it's because I just got tired of trying, but you were watching your brothers and sisters try the whole time, and you were still making excuses for them. You know, and again, this is just like a microcosm view of the same issue that I was saying from before when the Brown family came out. Like, you guys are sitting there making excuses and propping up the whole idea of the AUB and how awesome they are and how different they are from the FLDS, because in your particular family, maybe you aren't, 40 years junior to Cody as a wife, that all of a sudden none of that happens and you can turn a blind eye to all the evil that happened. But the second you leave Cody, now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we just like the FLDS. He's so evil. Oh yeah, everything that happened, polygamy is evil now because I suffered. But you weren't saying that shit when you were making millions. You know what I mean? And you were profiting from it. And then McKelty, the same thing. Like, while you were sitting up there being friends with your dad, making excuses for your dad and Robin, you had siblings who were suffering and upset because they didn't have that relationship with him. But it's just felt like you didn't see what their issues were. And you were kind of okay with it. And then now all of a sudden it's like, you can't believe how narcissistic my dad is. Like, we've been saying that shit the whole time. So I'm not surprised. I'm surprised you surprised, if anything. So, or just what exploitation? The parents exploited these kids, not fans. Well, the parents made the money for sure, but they were selling. The parents sold the children to the fans and the fan base for their attention, because the fans were interested in what happens with the kids and seeing the tenders and all that other shit, and they wanted to support them. So we were buying into the life and lifestyle. We provided the way for them to be able to benefit. And so, in a real weird way, we were kind of part of it. Yeah. Nicole Aggie, McKelty narcissistic video. The gloves are off. Show over because it's done. Looking on YouTube at TLC videos about sister wives. No one is watching them compared to a year ago. Yeah, because there's nothing that I can't keep doing it because it's like it's nothing really to talk about. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Everybody's an adult now. The kids are grown. They it feels like they know what's what. It's not like they're all confused. I think my dad loved me. Like, nobody is sitting around saying that shit. They like, oh, Cody's kind of a piece of shit because he won't spend time with us. And it's not our fault. It's him that he chooses not to have a relationship with us. And so I'm gonna just keep living my life. I'm gonna keep letting life, and I'll wait in a cut for dad to come back. And I don't blame him for that. So, what are we watching? It just feels like I'm supporting people who don't necessarily deserve or need my support. If that makes sense. Like, Cody and Robin don't need my support. They kind of begrudge my support. So why I'm gonna keep sitting there supporting them? Uh, yeah, but like Carmel Kitty said, like I think that ultimately with a lot of them, you got to start putting meat on the bones. That's the only way any of these careers, if they plan on having careers beyond season 21, the only way this show will even kind of survive after 21 or book deals or um, social media appearances will have any resolute gain is if they actually come in and they actually start putting meat on the bones. Like no more, I'm gonna hint at this and I'm gonna imply that, and I'm gonna walk up to the line and say accuse somebody of something, but I'm never gonna really get to that point where I actually accuse them of some shit or say anything real. I'm just gonna, leave it in the dark because I don't want anybody in my business. Well, if that's the case, then like what are we watching? Why am I spending my Sundays watching your stuff? And just so you guys know, especially as it stands right now, unless TLC does something different, I am not paying for early access on Sundays. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my Sunday show. I'm still going to do it early before Sister Wives comes on or whatever the case may be. But if I do a review of Sister Wives, it won't be until during the course of the week when I've had an opportunity to watch it and it hits the other platforms, because I'm not paying extra money to watch bullshit. Because last season was bullshit and it was dumb. And I was paying a lot of money for early access to watch Cody walk around and take Robin to dinners and say nothing. Yeah, you're so pretty. Yeah. I want you to come and lick my spoon. Oh, I'm gonna put my spoon in your mouth. Like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. Come watch me do some pull-ups. Like, I'm not doing it. Nope. Nope. You know what I mean? My money tight as hell anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of got me jacked up. I don't have no money to waste on Sister Wives. You know what I mean? I'm trying to eat. Because it's just because even their relationship is dry as hell. And other women, they've actually reached a point now where, like, between Christine, Mary, Janelle, they've reached a point now where, honestly, especially with Christine being married, why are you still talking about Cody? Like, I get it. You went through some trauma. There might be some things you want to mention or talk about. I get that. But it's not unless you're taking a position or making a point, just reliving it to be reliving it. I'm gonna just tell you a shit story about Cody just for shits and giggles, and it doesn't really move the needle either way. It doesn't really help. Mary and Janelle, with both of them having their own little self-help groups, at this point, I'm gonna go on record as saying I don't give a shit about how they was raised or if they was brainwashed by the cult or whatever people normally say in these situations. If you have and are sponsoring a self-help group on how to get over these types of relationships and you decide to go back into that relationship, you are making a choice. You are making a damn choice. If Janelle decided she gonna, like Megatron said, she gonna get down there and build that new house in North Carolina, and she gonna leave a light on for Cody in case Cody want to come back, you made a choice. So if Cody come back and he make a mess of you in your life, that's your choice. That's your choice. That's not Cody coming back and tricking you, or the AUB fooling you and brainwashing you and throwing a hood over your head and taking you out to the wilderness and saying some nasty shit to you. That's you making a decision. So at this point, I don't know what we're going to watch. None of them have a relationship with each other. yeah, you all have kids, you all have a history, but shit, I mean, there's people who walk around that I have a history with. I have no kids with them, but I have a history with. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna necessarily try to hook back up with them at a reunion, and we're gonna have these deep ass personal, emotional conversations. You know, just saying, it's just crazy to me. Like, and even with the prospect of like your new show and your business adventures, how crazy is it that you gonna tell people that, yeah, you gotta love yourself, you gotta worthy up and all that shit, and a man can get on national TV and say he never loved your ass. For how many seasons did Cody say that shit? He said that from definitely from season 18. I think it was 18 he said it. But even when we push it all the way back to season 19, Cody's saying that he never loved them. I think he said it in 18, but it's saying in 19 and 20. 2 straight years, he said he never loved you. I think it was like actually 18. I never loved them. Hell, I think he might even said it in 17. So anywhere from like 2 to 3 straight years, this dude on anybody who will listen to him telling him that he don't love you. And then he get there and say, I was wrong. I lied. I apologize. I did love you. And I accept your apology. I knew it. No. And I get it. Like, there are some people, when they break up, they got to hear the worst. They want you to say something jacked up so that could be the thing that they carry. And in this situation, I think that should be one of the things that when you guys break up, don't remember him saying he's sorry, he didn't mean it. Remember how he looked with the power, the vindication, the vitriol and the venom he had in his face and his mouth when he sat there and said he never loved you. That's what I would carry. I will remember that part. Not the bullshit ass apology. I remember when you thought you had all the power and you said some shit that was on your mind. Well, I was hurt. I don't give a shit. You said it, and I think you meant it. And if that's the case, then when I'm sitting here considering whether I'm going to go back to you or not, I'm going to remember that, not the apology. You know what I mean? Because somebody could, it's like love, this kind of thing is like reputations. It could take you a lifetime to build it and a second to destroy it. You don't get to tell me for like 20, 30 years that I'm the bee's knees, I'm amazing, I'm great, and I'm awesome. And then because you get mad at me, you spend 20 years telling me I'm amazing, I'm great, I'm awesome, I'm fulfilling every need you have. And then you spend another year after that 20 saying, yeah, I never really loved you. It was all an act. It was all a game. Everything I said was bullshit. And blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm going to remember. That's the part I'm going to remember. It's not going to be the lovey-dovey crap. It's going to be the venom you spit in my ass. And that's what I'll use to keep me going. When I sit there and think about, we kind of had a good conversation. Maybe we can get back together again. I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she don't love me. I forgot. Oops. It was all a lie. No, you don't understand. It was totally different. Because, when he was younger, we all the things we went through, I knew he loved me. Let me ask you a question. Has that man ever treated you as well as he treat Robin? That's my only question. No further questions, Your Honor. Has he ever treated you as well as he treat Robin? Has he ever considered you the way he considers Robin? And if you can honestly say no to any of those questions, then yeah, he might have liked you. He might have tolerated you. Maybe even thought he loved you. But he's looking at it from the comparison point of where he is with Robin right now to how he dealt with and lived with you guys. And he said, in comparison to how I feel about Robin versus how I've always felt about these women throughout our entire relationships, I can honestly say I never loved them. That's what I took from his I never loved you. I don't think it was just I was hurt. You guys say some mean shit to me and I don't want to like you. Now I'm going to try to hurt your feelings. I took it from the perspective of I'm saying this as a person who knows better now. I know what love is now, and I'm telling you that I didn't love you. With experience of what love is, I never loved you. And it's easy to say, when I said that, I didn't mean it, because he knew he wasn't getting back with your ass. He was telling you what you needed to hear so you could forgive him and let some of that money go. I knew it. I knew it. I don't know. Black Swan Gothica in the house. What's going on? Karma Q's in the house, I think. I think I saw her in there too. But yeah. But that's where we are, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I want to give a big shout out to the folks who left SpeakPipes. By all means, if you guys want to leave SpeakPipes, do so. SpeakPipe.com/mytakeonreality. Be glad to respond to those. I will be doing videos. I have to get my studio. I do have to get my studio together now. I'm feeling better, so I can get these videos up. I want to still do some of the reaction videos I was doing before, but I think I might do them more in video form, which will appear on My Take on Reality. The live streams will be on My Take on Reality Live. And we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep it pushing. We're going to try to grow the channel and do some different things. We're going to move past some of this Sister Wives stuff, because as we talked about, Sister Wives ain't going to be around forever, y'all. So I predict that this might be the last season. This might be the last roundup for these cats. You know what I mean? They might have to figure something else out. Hopefully they got, Cody and Robin and siphoned off enough money, they be able to pay their bills. And everybody else gonna be all right, because this show is not long for TLC. I don't know. TLC might keep it going now. TLC is like that. And then just for my own mental health and just fairness, for my own mental health, I gotta span past the Browns, because inevitably talking about them and a lot of the stuff that they have going on, it's just going to lead to a dark place. You know what I mean? Where it's just going to be more angry than observation. Anger over observation. Just because, like, these guys, like, they're not doing anything. And then because they're not doing anything, it's just going to look more and more crazy. And you want them to do more, and you want to be able to talk about stuff, but they're not giving anything to talk about. So it's just going to be bash, bash, bash. And I don't want to be that guy. So, yeah, Wendy said that, right? Yeah, I agree with Wendy. If they can keep bringing back Jasmine and Big Ed and Angela, then they can definitely keep bringing back the Browns. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, they'll keep a show going just because, the only thing that might stop them is because the Browns think they're stars. And so when TLC come to them and start talking about they want to cut that money back, I think the Browns are going to have that hard, financial conversation, and that might slow it down. you know. Yeah, because Michael will be on the new season for Hunt for Love. So I know Angela will be back. At least at the tell all. Yeah, I mean she's a rating capture. What will stop season 21 and the Browns forever is if we get together and sign petitions and send it to TLC. Now I don't know. Because the crazy part is, even with the protest, because I love a good protest, I love causing good trouble. The problem is that the more attention the show gets, positive or negative, the more likely it is they'll keep them. Because they understand that people will hate watch the show. So it's kind of it's the Black Sabbath effect. You know, years ago when Ozzy Osbourne was doing his show, he was a member of Black Sabbath. He was doing his show, rock concert, rocking out, War Pigs, the whole nine, Iron Man. Somebody threw some up on stage. He thought it was a little plastic fake bat. He picked it up and bit the head off the mother. And it would turn out it was a real bat. And he's standing there looking crazy, like just blood dripping out his damn mouth. They took pictures of it. And when it wasn't that big a deal at first, but a lot of the censors heard about it, and all of a sudden everybody's going crazy. He's trying to petition him and ban him from certain locations and cancel his tour. And once that shit got out, every metalhead in the world all of a sudden was an Ozzy Osbourne fan. That one incident knocked Ozzy Osbourne into super stratus as far as his popularity. And I watched it time and time again. Every time somebody comes out and tries to silence or kill something through petitions or protests, it just makes it stronger. Another example would be what's that movie? The Last Temptation of Christ from that was a horrible movie. Last Temptation of Christ, that came out in 1988. And they did a whole thing where Jesus was tempted by I think it was, who was it? It's a Scorsese movie starring William Dafoe as Christ. And he was supposed to be tempted by Mary Magdalene to try to clap them cheeks. Then all of a sudden everybody was like, this is crazy, and oh my gosh. And as soon as they came out and said, yeah, he gonna get tempted, blah blah blah, people went and watched that. They made that movie number one. Right? They also did it with another movie. They did that with the Mel Gibson version. And it was they just kept, it's like the more you protest them, the stronger they get. Like if they protest Cody and Robin, or you send letters to TLC talking about Sister Wives need to be off the air, they'd be like, oh, I thought people wasn't watching Sister Wives no more. These people know who Sister Wives are. Woo! They'll keep them on for another 5 years. Oh my God, you did not compare Sabbath with these hard people. Sabbath is awesome metal. Rest in peace. Awesome Master. Awesome metal. Rest in peace, Ozzy. Yeah. I'm telling you, when Ozzy did that shit, everybody was like, what? I remember the kids going bananas. And they're like, what? He did what? He's so hardcore. He did it by accident. Everybody lost their minds. Is that you made me talk to text, go nuts. You cannot compare Black Sabbath, the best heavy metal band in creation, will rock as well as these fools. What kept it going was the great music, RIP Ozzy. Well, I'll say this. Ozzy was ahead of his time in a lot of ways. He definitely was ahead of his time. And like even some of his protest songs, whether it's War Pigs or whatever, crazy songs. Like you can still rock out to most of those songs. Iron Man, like they played that shit during 2008's Iron Man, and that was like one of the hardest soundtracks additions ever. You know what I mean? But yeah, his career exploded. Like it wasn't like he was not known, but his career exploded because all of a sudden everybody was talking about him around kitchen tables. You know, did you hear about this devil worshiper, Ozzy Osbourne? And they were going bananas. And my man was just banking. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, but I mean, the show is, I think, as the show starts to decline, what will probably kill the show is not necessarily the ratings or the interest will kill the show because as people stop watching the show, less money will be available for the show, and when less money is available, Cody trying to manipulate and I'm worth $1 million an episode. Like, no, you're not, because we don't even get $1 million for the whole season worth of views, and he would have to deal with that part of it, getting a pay cut. And I don't think Cody's in line to take a pay cut, especially with these new purchases and lifestyles that my man is rolling. So, but we had Caramel Cuties gifted One My Take on Reality membership. Thank you, Caramel Cuties. Appreciate you. I'll give you a little something. Right on. Make sure you guys tune in on Saturdays for the round table at noon Eastern Standard Time for the we have a open panel discussion. We have a lot of good talks. Thank you, Caramel Kitty. All right. But thank you guys so much. Big shout out to everybody who called in, left a SpeakPipe. We had 3 contributors today. We had Janet, Linda, and Carmel Cuties. Make sure you guys get your comments in. Make sure you leave those speak pipes so we can keep the Thursday night speak pipes going and live and lively. Linda said, "My talk to text is drunk." Don't text and drive. Don't text and drink. Don't drink and text. That's awesome. Yeah, he was known, but Sharon elevated his fame starting Ozfest. See, here's the thing. Like when I say that Ozzy, his notoriety was expanded. Let me explain. What I'm referring to, like Ozzy Osbourne, hell, shit. Let's be honest. Ozzy Osbourne, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Metallica. Even going into like later, like Guns N' Roses, like further down the line, right? Not as heavy as like, Ozzy now. Anthrax. Like they were well known amongst like metalheads. What Ozzy did was he transcended the metal genre with the incident with the bat, because now you didn't just have metalheads and people who are in the rock and roll, hard rock, heavy metal talking about Ozzy Osbourne. You had suburban mothers and soccer moms talking about Ozzy Osbourne at that point. And then when they started talking about him, invariably, as they were talking about him, people wanted to hear what they were talking about. Why are people so offended? Why are people so mad? Why are people saying that he's with the devil? He in league with the devil and he got all this stuff. What's going on with this Ozzy character? Now, all of a sudden, you have a group of people who never really listened to heavy metal. Well, in some cases, they were buying his records, but they were actively seeking out his music. And that's what those protests did. They blew his ass up, you know. And it wasn't a bad thing because, like I said, it wasn't like he had a weak catalog. So when people actually went back and said, "What's this Ozzy Osbourne about?" and they started listening to his music, they're like, "This shit is wild. It's actually good." And so it wasn't that he was a man of no substance, and then all of a sudden these things came out. He was a man of tremendous substance who had a very strong catalog. So when the incident happened and people started looking at him, his catalog was so strong. They said, "Damn, my man is on to something." What? I don't know what they talk about, but this is actually good music, and that's what blew him up. And he carried a lot of, like, on his shoulders, even after that incident, because of his popularity and the curiosity he had when he was running in those circles. A lot of the people were carried by him. So a lot of bands that normally might not have gotten that same level of attention were actually getting more attention because they were rolling in those same groups. So that's kind of what I was referring to. What is this? Caramel Cuties with the $5 super chat. Said, so off topic, but go see the Michael movie about Michael Jackson's life. 10 out of 10, highly recommended. It was so good. Love this community. Okay. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Caramel Cuties. Little scared to see the Michael Jackson biopic. Just because, if I'm going to be honest, they never really do a good job with it. But, I'll take your word for it. Like, if they said that this one was actually pretty good. Because they said the family was more involved with the production of it. And I think his nephew is playing him. So, with that being said, like, I think that it has more of a chance. Definitely has more of a chance. But they've historically just done shit jobs with, like, any production talking about Michael Jackson. They just usually are very they're laughably bad in some cases. But yeah, I'll definitely take that note. So go check out the Michael Jackson movie. Caramel Cutie recommends 10 out of 10. That's a high recommendation. High recommend. So let's give Caramel Cuties a little something, something. Uh-oh. I think they babooped you. I think they gave me 2 for the same thing. Let me give you a little something, something. Carl Q said, I enjoyed it so much I had to leave a super chat. Damn. So I had so much fun in that movie. Oh, man. James, my fellow metalhead. Yeah, I love all kinds of music. It's crazy. I'm that guy that people are like, what the hell? You should have my karaoke list. Mind blown. I got a few people. Because, I will get up and sing, some classics. Little Teddy P, Marvin Gaye. I'll sing that stuff. Boys to Men, all that shit. But if I really want to freak them out, yeah, buddy. I'll do a little War Pigs. I've done War Pigs, Iron Man. I've done songs from what is it? Black Hole Sun. I used to really do a lot of I did Like a Stone. That was one of my favorites. 7 Married 3, Cumbersome. Yeah. Just freak people out. And it's awesome. Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I am looking for. I'll go check out the Michael Jackson biopic. I feel a little more comfortable. Carmen Cutie said it's good. Like I said, I was always nervous because I grew up, watching Michael. I grew up watching his ass. Michael Jackson was the first, and maybe the only like super famous person I've ever seen. Like, cause I've seen people go to concerts and they pass out. It's like, oh, he's incredible. Michael could make grown men pass out. That dude was that famous. Like, you know what I mean? It's insane. Like, he could walk out on stage, grown men getting carried over the crowd because they passing out. And his shows were so good. They were ridiculous. They were almost perfect. And that was actually one of the things that I had said about Michael Jackson from the beginning. One of the things that I think hindered a lot of his record sales, as he started like later in his career, wasn't the fact that his music was bad or it wasn't really in touch or whatever the case. His music was too good. You understand what I mean? Like his music was literally too good. Like it was like it's so good that it's like for people who maybe don't really have appreciation for it, don't understand like how good his music actually is. Like from the production, like the sound production, all the way to the vocals, to the subject matters of the songs. Like he has a song that I really like that came out in his Blood in the Dance Floor album called "Slave to the Rhythm." Oh my goodness, that song is that song is tight, but it's it's so good because it addresses a serious issue, but it does it in such a way, like in the Michael Jackson way, where you really don't realize. Well, I won't say you don't realize, but it's such a good beat, such a good song, such a strong song that you don't recognize that what he's actually talking about is domestic issues. You know what I mean? Like for instance, in the first thing, I just called up the lyrics. It says that in the first part of the lyrics, he says she dances in these street sheets all at night. She dances to his needs. She dances till he feels just right until he falls asleep. She dances at the crack of dawn and quickly cooks his food. She can't be late, can't take too long. The kids must go to school. It talks about like throughout the whole songs, it talks about like the responsibilities that she has as a person who's trying to take care of her house and her home and take care of a husband who's not really appreciative of what she has going on. And then at the end, like when they do the whole plateau and everything, like I said, the music and arrangement is ridiculous. But one of the verses is really crazy and touching to me is like she dances for the man at work who works her overtime. She can't be rude as she says, "Sir, I must be at home tonight." She dances to the kitchen's. She dances to the kitchen stove. Dinner is served by 9. He says his food's an hour late. She must be out her mind. And he talks about she's a slave to the rhythm, like she's a slave to her situation. She's tied to this situation that she's not appreciative in, or being appreciated in, or valued in. And then he talks about she works so hard just to make her way for a man who just don't appreciate. And though he takes her love in vain, still she could not stop, could not break his chains. She dances the night that they fell out. She swore she danced no more. But then she did. He did not quit as she ran out the door. She danced through the night in fear of her life. She danced to the beat of her own. She let out a cry and swallowed her pride. She knew she was needed back home. Like, and that talks about like the cyclical uh capture of these types of relationships. And that's the type of music that he made. You know what I mean? That's the type of music that the dude made. And it was like, but it's so like technically It's a fantastic song. Lyrically, it's a fantastic song. The imagery is there. It almost plays like a movie, to a point, and it tells a story. Like there's something in there where there's like drama and it tells a story and you can sympathize with this person, but it's just such a great song. So yeah, the song is called Slave to the Rhythm. Check it out. Check it out. It's just a really powerful song. But yeah, I mean, my man was brilliant. He was a brilliant dude. And he messed up because he took all them damn publishing rights from companies. I think that's actually what killed his ass. We're gonna be honest, I don't get too conspiratorial because then I might have an accident. Yeah, James slipped in the shower yesterday, y'all. Well, apparently he was fully dressed. He slipped in the shower. He was talking shit on that online between him and Prince. Prince owned his masters. Michael Jackson, he not only owned his stuff, my man owned the Beatles. He owned all kinds of people's catalogs. So, and the record companies was not happy with his ass. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. But that's my take, guys. I appreciate everybody calling in. Let me give a huge shout out to everybody who left a super chat. Appreciate you guys. We have Unlimited Lipstick, Janet in the house, Caramel Cuties. And of course, Caramel Cuties leaving a My Take on Reality membership. Make sure you take advantage of that My Take on Reality membership. And before we go, I want to make sure we take full advantage of leaving hearts in the chat. Hearts in the chat is a segment that I do where we recognize people who may need a little bit of support, may need that extra oomph to keep it going because, shit sometimes get tight. And people need to know that folks are on their side and they got their backs. So I want to make sure that we are doing that. But hold on one second. Yeah, so we do hearts in the chat. Let's get some folks up. Make sure you check on your strong friends. That's something from Caramel Cuties. Make sure you check on your strong friends, the friends that you think are okay that may not be okay. Make sure you're checking on those individuals, the people who support you the most. Sometimes need support themselves. But just as a quick list of folks who are members or subscribers or viewers of the stream and appear in the chat who may need our support, let's give them a little something. Put some hearts in the chat for them. We have Brittany Not Brittany, Jody Periscala, Caramel Cuties, Megatron, Miss Betty Aldridge, Kathy Ferran, Allison Gaines, Marlo Peterson, and Team Ty and Lit Mom. Let's get some hearts in the chat for them. Because they are worth it. Anybody who needs that support, make sure we supporting individuals. Yeah, but Michael actually, there's a couple songs I could probably list off. And Michael has some really good, Dirty Diana, Princess Diana. I remember quick Michael Jackson story. And I will let you guys go. I remember when Michael Jackson apparently went to that first Thriller album dropped. There was a song right before Thriller called Dirty Diana. And he talked about like Michael, one of the most craziest lines in that song is like, I went to the phone. I said, baby, I forgot my key. Leave the door open because I forgot my key. And then Dirty Diana said, snatch the phone, talk about he'd be fine because he's staying here with me. And that shit tore my ass up. I was like, damn, straightforward. But when Michael Jackson went over to England and he met the Queen of England and he met Dirty Diana, he was warned, whatever you do, you can do this show for the Queen of England, but under no circumstances are you to sing the song Dirty Diana. because Princess Diana is here with her husband, and that will be crazy disrespectful. And so Michael's in line, and he's shaking the hands of like the queen and you know, her son Charles, and Diana's there. And she said, like, they said that Princess Diana went up to Michael, whispered in his ears, like, "Are you gonna sing that song, Dirty Diana?" And he said, "No, I can't sing that song." They said it's disrespectful. She said, "I love that song. I feel like it's about me." Oh, Princess Diana was the shit. I don't care what nobody say. Princess Diana was down, boy. She was down. She was about that life, boy. She was like, I love that song. You should sing that song. That's my song. Michael's like, I can't sing that song. They'll lock my ass up. They'll beat the dog shit out of me up in there. I'll sing that song. She's like, I want you to sing that song and point at me. Oh man, Princess Diana, boy, she brought some truth to the damn throne. That's why I, you know, not talking about another one, but I think that's why they knocked her ass off, because she was too real. Princess Diana was too real. It's like, we can't have that up in here. She gonna cause problems. But yeah, well, okay. Yeah, I thought so too. Daisy said the song was about Diana Ross. Yeah. Well, you know, it's Hollywood. Everybody messing with everybody in Hollywood. Yeah, you know. I'm just saying. Yeah, because as this Daisy said, James, you preaching about Diana, her death never sat well with me. That shit, I was a kid when she passed away. And it didn't feel right to me either. Because the one thing I know, they said she died, you know, paparazzi got behind her, and they started chasing her, and the dude lost control of the car. You know how good those drivers are that they hired to do security for like the royal family, like the Secret Service guys we have that do presidential details and all. You know how good these people are behind the wheel? For them to get into a car accident because they go in a buck like 100 miles an hour, these guys could go 100 miles an hour in a rainstorm and be fine. Like, so that whole thing was just crazy to me. I was like, I don't know about this one. This shit don't sound right. Oh, what I think about Prince Andrew? Lock his ass up. I think they're gonna do right by him. Like, I think he's gonna get, like, my man's gone. I think my man's gone. Like, we need some of that justice here. We need anybody who was tied up with them gone. Yeah, I agree with Daisy. You know, I think she was assassinated before a historic divorce settlement was paid out. Yeah, she was gonna turn them pockets out. Plus, who she was dating. Look it up. That's my take, guys. Before I get too deep into the woods, I'm just saying, get too conspiratorial. But before I go, let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat: Linda, Janet, and Caramel Cuties who left messages, as well as the Mega Mod Squad, Caramel Cuties, Lizzie B, and Brittany Not Brittany. Let me give them a little something. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. We will be back on Saturday for the roundtable. Make sure you guys, if you're a member or you haven't joined yet, make sure you join. If you got the memberships, come on through. We have a full panel and we do an open discussion on all topics. No subject is out of bounds. All right, guys, that's my take. I'm James, and this has been my take on reality, and I'm out.